Paraphrasing an American science author, Stephen Johnson, if we look at history, innovation does not come from giving people incentives. It comes from creating environments where their ideas can connect. And we are here today to connect, to do exactly that, to connect with each other, to connect with the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, and to connect our ideas. So welcome to Innoveit Warsaw, connecting regions, industries, innovators. This event is part of a series of Innoveit Weeks, EIT community-led events. We are in Warsaw today, like I said, but similar events have been already held in other cities like Stockholm and Paris, and a grand finale is going to be held in Brussels on the 11th of October. My name is Andrew Robel, and I am the founding partner at Emerging Europe. Emerging Europe is a London-based growth hub focused on innovation and entrepreneurship-driven sustainable growth of 23 countries of Central and Eastern Europe. I am also the leader of Tech Emerging Europe Advocates, which is part of a global network of more than 35,000 tech and innovation enthusiasts from around the world. Over the last decade, my work has made me realize how important it is to work together for the region, for Central, for Eastern, and Southern regions of the European Union. We need to collaborate, we need to work together. This event, organized by EIT Health InnoStars and other knowledge and innovation communities, is the only event that is laser-focused on building adaptive, resilient, and innovative ecosystems in the countries that are part of the so-called RIS scheme, or Regional Innovation Scheme. EIT has built the largest innovation ecosystem in Europe with almost 3,500 partners in 80 innovation hubs across the continent. EIT is also the only innovation body that has a concrete and on-the-ground network of organizations in the whole of European Union, in each and every EU member state. The organization's mission is to drive innovation forward, not only in order to ensure Europe's green and sustainable future, but also to make sure that we are able to solve international, global, pressing challenges. And we're talking about climate change, we're talking about the digital transition, but we're also talking about things like the recent challenge, which is the COVID-19 pandemic. Without innovation, we will not be able to achieve that. EIT's programs and incentives and initiatives, such as Eit Jumpstarter, EIT Higher Education Initiative, the new European Bauhaus, the Regional Innovation Scheme, are absolutely instrumental here. So I urge you to connect with each other today to make sure that we all contribute to creating that collaboration-friendly environment that I mentioned at the very beginning. In order to connect, I would like all of you to remember about the hashtag that we have here on the left and on the right-hand side. It's Innoveit. Please use this hashtag whenever you want to tweet or post something on social media, and let's connect with those who are not joining us today online or are not with us here in person. And also scan the Slido QR code and please share your questions throughout the panel discussions that we are going to have throughout the next couple of hours. Earlier I mentioned global challenges, and in a moment we will have proof of how innovation can help solve pressing issues. And in the case of Ukraine, also stand up against an invader. And in order to discuss that, I would like to invite Yegor Dubinski, who is the Deputy Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, to talk about that. Yegor, could you join us?
Thank you.
It's awesome to see you again here, this time here in Warsaw. We saw each other just a couple of months ago, but that was in Brussels. So let's talk briefly about the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine. This is a governmental body that is only, 3 years old. And in fact, has been designed and is working as a startup. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Absolutely. Andrew, first of all, thank you. Thank you for invitation, for having me here. And I'd like to use this opportunity to thank Eit for this current activity and support of innovation. I will try to explain how important it is. And so really, our ministry was created of the election of President Zelensky, 3 years old. And we were going to be Ministry of Innovation and Transformation, but decided to be a digital transformation because of digital is the basis of all innovations right now. So we are the youngest and the most well-connected ministry in our government, and we have 75% of our staff. They came from business. We really, startup ministry, which practice agile, not waterfall management.
And there's been quite a few successes. I mean, not everyone knows that the vast majority of public services now available in Ukraine are available in a mobile phone.
Almost. So right now we have around 20 public services available on your smartphone or online, and 14 digital documents. Literally, your driver ID and your passport is equal in your smartphone, equal to your paper or plastic. And even we have, COVID certificate. The jealous of the United States, which they still have this piece of paper.
That's even worse than in the UK. But I have to say that in the UK, my driver's license is actually still plastic, and I don't have that in my phone. I can't use it in my phone.
But we want to, up to 2024, we want to transfer all public services in Ukraine to make them accessible online. Literally, no public service will exist if you will have no access to internet to that.
But there's also other things like Dia City, for example.
Oh, Dia City is a specific thing, unfortunately it was launched this year just literally 2 weeks before the invasion, full-scale invasion of Russia.
Yes.
But nevertheless, we already have 350 residents. It's specific legislative and tax regime in Ukraine, which allow users, we created it to support IT business and to support this IT ecosystem in Ukraine.
But what is really interesting, and that idea, that solution was created before the invasion. So that has contributed to building that resilience that is particularly important when it comes to digital transformation and using digital services in our everyday life. So can you tell us what have been the most important lessons from the last 7 months since Russia's invasion on the 24th of February?
The most important lessons may be innovation. We realize that a small Soviet army cannot defeat big Soviet army. And to defeat small army has to be very innovative. Mm-hmm. And we became very innovative. We introduced maximum new technologies on the battlefield and around to reach resilience. Our ministry particularly, we help our country to create IT army, phenomenal, media army of drones, mm-hmm. United 24, and many other invasions. And it allowed us, when Russian hit our telecom infrastructure, we asked Elon Musk to provide us with Starlinks, When they hit our central databases, we asked Polish governments of Baltic countries, our big tech partners, Microsoft, Oracle, Amazon, they hosted our data. It was kind of digital solidarity they showed. And so the key word for that, we learned that it's kind of digital resilience. And the lesson?
And I would say collaboration, because you mentioned quite a few things here.
And the lesson for Europe, you can reach digital resilience, but not within national borders. For that, you need very strong international collaboration and very strong public-private partnership.
A very quick question about the IT sector, which has been instrumental in achieving that resilience.
Our IT sector showed enormous economical resilience. When let me be frank, our Azovstal, our steel production, chemical production was hit by Russian, even our agricultural production was damaged, our IT sector shows growth. And it generates more and more income for our GDP. And it's very important for us, we're thankful to all countries, all investors who believed in us, and our people, they are dedicatedly, they work on that to keep this IT working and to keep our economy working.
And it's currently working. I think that's very important to emphasize. In our latest research, we saw that the forecast for exports in 2022 will exceed $2 billion. The final question here, the future, that is very important.
Future is very important for us, We believe that after our victory, we have no doubts, just after our victory, and we are already started. We will build new economy. We will build techonomy in Ukraine. Our Vice Prime Minister, Minister of Digital Transformation, Mikhailo Fedorov, he called it Digital for Freedom Initiative, to introduce new innovative technologies in governance, state governance, in justice, education, health, telemedicine, in any other sector, to introduce technologies based on digital, so it will be digital technologies based on transparency and accountability. So, and we believe that together with our partners, other countries and big companies, we will create some public goods which will be helpful also for other countries. And for us, it will be our contribution to European Union as candidate and I believe as member as well.
But Ukraine is also inviting other European countries to test different solutions in Ukraine.
We are ready. We are brave enough to test all the new technologies in Ukraine, and we are ready, to invite our partnership countries, to do that and to create such products. And we believe that IT sector will be kind of smart specialization of Ukraine. And so together we will build our digital, resilient digital future.
As they say, everything is techable in Ukraine, right?
Yes. Everything is possible, everything is techable, and everything is, we can make it live.
So let us watch a short video right now to see where Ukraine is meant to be in 2030, so in 8 years' time.
Громадяни України, сьогодні вранці президент Путін оголосив проведення спеціальної військової операції на Донбасі. Росія здійснила удари по нашій військовій інфраструктурі.
Let's look 8 years ahead. 2030. The history of the new Ukraine is studied all over the globe. Why? Because Ukraine became the most digital and convenient country in the world. Scripts have replaced bureaucrats. 500,000 former public servants are successfully integrated in the new economy. No more red tape, but paperless. No more banknotes, but cashless. Yes, we became the first country to abandon paper money. Ukraine now has the best tax system for the IT industry and the most affordable e-residency. Thanks to Ukrainian engineers and programmers, the R&D centers of the world's top technology companies operate successfully, and Ukraine ranks first in the world by the number of startups per capita. Ukrainian courts are guided by artificial intelligence, and all notarial acts take place online. Ukrainian customs is fully automatic and the fastest in the world. Customs clearance and car registration can now be done in 3 clicks from your smartphone. Because of war and internal migration, we have built the most flexible and modern digital education. Brave military and civilians get quality treatment with modern remote monitoring and e-health systems. Ukraine also has the most effective cyber defense in the world. After the horrors of 2022, Ukraine focused on security systems. Now every production facility has its air defense system, and the sleep of Ukrainians is protected by an ultra-modern Iron Dome. The Ukrainian government is digital, more like an IT company in terms of the efficiency of implementing decisions, and one can register a land plot, start construction, open a business or get a license, and register a car or real estate from a smartphone, automatically, in one click. Ukraine is the freest and digital. This is all because international partners and the world's leading technology companies supported the Digital for Freedom initiative and united to help Ukraine recover through digitalization. Building a new Ukraine together, free and the fastest, brave and digital.
I have to say that this is not a sci-fi movie. It's actually happening already, and we have to give the Ukrainian Ministry of Digital Transformation a round of applause for the resilience that they have managed to build over the last 7 months.
Thank you all. Thank you for your support of Ukraine, and thank you for your trust us and belief in Ukraine. And I just want to wish you to be brave. And Slava Ukraini!
Slava, Heroям Slava. Thank you very much. We are going to continue the topic of building resilience right now. So what I would like to do at the moment is to invite the first discussion leader, the first panel, and that is Michał Górzyński, Head of Office of the Director, European Institute of Innovation and Technology. And together with him, 3 guests, Mantas Vilis, Karina Angeleva, and Kaspars Roskalns.
First of all, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be actually on the event, which is not only online event. This panel will be dedicated to ecosystem, a resilient ecosystem, and the way how we can support development of resilient ecosystems. We are going to focus on 2 elements. First of all, what contributes to resilient ecosystems, and the second part would be about how the EIT and the EIT community may contribute to this. But before, let's start with maybe some check-in question to exactly understand what we are talking about. Mantas, you are director of the Innovation Center in Lithuania. Could you tell us how we can define what do we mean by resilient ecosystems? What are the characteristics of resilient ecosystems?
Tough question. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here. Such a nice introduction. This is not artificial intelligence supported presentation yet, so I'll try to be personal to some extent. When I look into my hand, how it is healing, and I was like astonished to which extent the human body is resilient. I mean, having the wound and having it fixed almost automatically, you look into this body system and you say, oh my God, to which extent we are to some extent already resilient, but nevertheless this process is continuously in dynamics because we get shocks every day. We get external, internal shocks. And one of the probably key characteristics to the keyword of the resilience is ability to cope to the external and internal challenges that are bombarding the system. Yeah? The system, being it the body, being it the innovation support, or economy or so. So being able to respond to that, to continue on its mission and not to leave the mission aside. So it doesn't matter what the factors, what are the situations and so on. We believe in Ukraine, we believe that they would be independent and nothing else matters. So that's the resilient system in a nutshell.
Many thanks. Kaspars, from your perspective, you are Director General of the Investment and Development Agency of Latvia. Could you tell us from your perspective, how would you define resilient ecosystem? What do you mean by resilient ecosystem?
Thank you. Well, a resilient ecosystem is the one ecosystem who can adapt through the crisis. So when Pantas just talked about the bombardment, it means that you are able to stay relevant. You on the ecosystem side, you're able to adapt quickly, and obviously it means that you actually, from the ecosystem perspective, that we heard already from what happens in Ukraine. The innovation happens when you have such a huge challenge, and it depends. Obviously, in whole region we have like energetic crisis, and we see the innovation is going there, and what was not possible 5 years ago, now it is on a daily agenda, and this is something that if all the stakeholders, the government, the academia, startups, the entrepreneurs, they align along the mission, and then they have one huge mission, what they want to kind of achieve, and then they are able to quickly adjust. When the government clerks, bureaucracy, like bureaucrats like me, we know, okay, what to do, and because the startups are saying, okay, we have a solution, but we need to get it done, and then if we sit around the one table, then that is a resilient ecosystem, if we can react quickly. And however, I would say the current issue is we need a crisis. Only during the huge crisis, that is possible, when the innovation in procurement can happen, when the startups can reach out to the prime minister, and we need a crisis for that. And that's, I would say, would be a next step, how to align one mission for the ecosystem without the crisis, but looking 2 steps ahead.
So we are talking about adaptability, we are talking about connectivity, we are talking also about quick identification of challenges and opportunities. So let's discuss now how we may build resilient ecosystems. And Karina, you have knowledge triangle experience from different perspectives. You may assess how and what elements are important to develop resilient ecosystems. You are former Deputy Minister of Education and Science. You are Deputy Minister of Growth and Innovation. So you have very horizontal perspective. Can you tell us your story, how this look like in Bulgaria, please?
Thank you so much. I'm really very happy to be in Warsaw and to be in this amazing group of friends and colleagues. I'm not only from different perspectives, but unfortunately or fortunately from a long time in this system. And I'm trying to be short and concise, because I think what matters today, and we already started during the day with some talks, what matters today is to stop talking too much, but to start working on it and implementing. We are already talking for innovation ecosystems, resilience, sustainability, strategic orientation for more than 20 years, but we do not dare to put the ingredients together, and as our colleague from Ukraine advises, to be more brave. So if you ask me what are the ingredients really to be resilient, first and most important is to do not allow the resilient to become one more word that the politicians just talk about it. I agree with you and disagree slightly, because I think resilience means to adapt, but also to be able to progress. So not to adapt and to stay there. Resilience doesn't mean only to be adaptive, but to thrive, to take the challenge, to harvest the challenge and to continue, which means that, like it or not, the most important ingredient is not a digital in the way, but is first the people. For resilient innovation ecosystems, you need a pool of talents, pool of people. And we already have in Europe, in different regions, depopulation. We do not have a critical mass of people, and this is very important. Or we have so many depopulated regions that people just close down and prefer then to continue living and working as before, which is not helping. And the second most important ingredient is, like it or not, politicians. Policymakers shouldn't involved in deciding what should be the innovation. Are we going to invest how we do the AI, or how we do the biotech, or how we do the agri-tech? This decide the entrepreneurs and the businesses. But the politicians, if they do not help with stimulus to create the knowledge triangle, meaning education, research and economy on spot, on ground, it's very possible that at the end there is nothing to harvest on. So talents, politicians that decide on stimulus and good regulatory system. Basically, we have a lot of research results. We have a lot of good examples worldwide. We have to be very proud in Europe. And it's shocking that we allow very often the politicians to decide new challenges without harvesting what we have already and exploring and exporting. So the third very important ingredient and of extreme urgency at the moment is to concentrate on scaling up. And we saw this in the video. This is a dream that I believe can come true. Only in 8 years. 8 years are nothing for innovation. This means that we really have to concentrate on scaling up. And to have all of these things together, of course, as my colleagues said correctly, we need connectivity. Connectivity in physical sense, because we are still not connected. We are have different cultural, different mentality in Europe, but still we are not connected because, as I said, we are reinventing constantly instruments and different programs. I am sure most of you will agree. Instead to explore what is already there and to scale it up and connect it better among us. Europe is at stake, democracy is at stake, which means that also education is at stake, human resources are at stake, innovation is at stake. This means that we need a new approach and more concentration and focus on the basics, on the knowledge itself.
I think that among all these three elements that you mentioned, we may probably come back at the end about the second element, how we could see the public institutions supporting the process. You mentioned about brave talents, that we need to have brave talents who will be driving factors for ecosystem, for changes, for opportunities. Probably the first follow-up question which I would have, what is missing in current education system that we still cannot come up with the proper pool of talents that may be real leaders? Are we missing critical mass? Are we missing certain skills or competences? What should be the area of intervention, if I may say like that, to change this situation and address the problem of lacking brave talents?
Again to me?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. We have good education. It's not connected. In order to have innovation and to harvest talents, that's why I like the word adaptive, but I want to think a little bit beyond, because we need to prepare the new skillful talents that are able to create businesses or to find a job or to help a social cause. So at the end of the day, I think, as I said before a while, we should really go back to the basics, because the initial idea of the knowledge triangle was that we'll do excellent research, but also we'll harvest the results and we'll connect education and training systems so that we play in one football team, you know, and we still have different leagues. This is adequate for sport. I'm a former basketball player, very fair, but for education and innovation in Europe, we need to play in one playing field. Otherwise, we can't gather this critical mass. We need to compete with Japan, with the States or whatever. I think what we are missing is that too many changes have been done, too many political wish lists, but politicians, be careful, they think very short term. So we are constantly changing themes instead to concentrate on the values of education. Education to be innovative and our kids to be skillful needs to be able to harvest the innovations, to be able to understand innovations, businesses, but also to understand the society. We need to go back to find the cause, to find the values for these local universities and ecosystems. They should help their local society and community. You can't now require all the universities and schools everywhere in Europe. Now they should do only deep tech and AI. They should help their local society and to try to innovate locally, but to dream globally.
Thanks a lot. Kaspars, your point of view on what are the ingredients which are needed to build resilient ecosystems?
Yeah, well, I would say all of the ingredients were mentioned already, but the future battle definitely is going to be for talents. And that is the people in the innovation ecosystem and the people why the innovation, why actually we need innovation. We want to live better. We want our kids to live better, longer, and sustainable. And if we look at this perspective, then definitely the talents are the key there. Yes, the legislation is a sandboxing, etc. Everybody knows that. The financing, again, something that is available, and maybe if you can reduce the bureaucracy on the financing and so on. But overall, that is in a place. What I would say is missing here is the government point of view. If they only legislate and if they only, let's say, distribute the financing, we can see that's not enough. We, at least in how we see it, is the government needs to take sometimes to be the tip of the spear of innovation, because the government can risk. And to risk from the government perspective, why that's not happening? Because if we talk about innovation, it means, well, pretty much one idea out of 5 survives. If you go back with this on a tax office and say, hey, we're going to spend 100 mil and maybe 20 mil will be spent decently, then obviously they're not happy about it. And this is the change of the mindset that the society needs to reach. Then as a society, we need to understand the government is going to risk it to make all our lives better, and that's actually what we can see is happening in US and Japan, and that's where Europe needs to go. We sometimes need to define small scale, not huge budget, but restriction-free on the government side to try it, so the deep techs actually can have the first big client within the government, because that's where actually the risk can be easier, let's say, absorbed than on a private sector.
So again, we are talking about the braveness, no? But this time from the public administration point of view. Mantas, from your perspective, what are the ingredients that you would pick up as the key for developing resilient ecosystems?
Number of key factors have been mentioned, definitely important, but I would emphasize maybe the one that was touched upon, but not that intensively, the interconnectivity, the globalness. I mean, we think too much about national ecosystems. I mean, naturally, of course, we care about the Lithuanian SMEs, we care about the Bulgarian education system, naturally, somehow, you know. But it seems that the time came that we have to forget a bit the boundaries, because, you know, we are too constrained and too limited. And I also do come with example just recently happening, and when on the 24th of February the invasion happened, despite of the horror or the war and so on, all the ecosystems in Europe felt that. I mean, one way or another. I mean, Lithuanian companies were suffering, the global value chains were disrupted, you know, all the businesses were affected easily and quickly, I mean, with no explanation and so on. and we had to respond. And I do represent Lithuania, a rather small country which has limited resources. We have limited capacity to cope with these challenges and instantly to offer the help for even for Lithuanian SMEs. But what we did with the support of Enterprise Europe Network, one of the networks that I feel is important to have the common language, common vision, and common, understanding of the issues and problems. So we responded jointly, and we built a platform for virtual matchmaking and virtual meeting between the, companies that suffer supply chain disruptions with alternative partners. I mean, and this goes even beyond the Europe, because for some suppliers, so for some issues, Europe was not able even to offer anything, because you need to reach out for South America, some alternatives. And only jointly we built a platform that we successfully launched in 1 week. That was never ever possible with only single entity or single country of efforts. And already in that system we have more than 800 companies from Europe, more than 150 companies from Ukraine that also find this platform useful to find the alternatives, because the system collapsed, supply chains were damaged. So we as a country in Lithuania, we would never ever would be able to cope with this kind of challenge. And in order to be resilient, you have to rely on partners, on links and the networks. And that we were able to do only with the support of the network. And that's one of the factors for the resilient system. When one element is damaged, you can substitute with another, partner to cover for a while when it is regenerating. So otherwise, it's impossible.
So another factor, connectivity. So you are all aware what the EIT does and how the EIT functions. If we could finish with a few sentences from your end, what would be your expectations from the EIT, the way to go to better support resilient ecosystems? What would you advise? Karina, let's start from you.
Pick up for these amazing, inspiring words. For me, it is very, very, very important. I remember when it started, 2007, all the discussions, and I think we should remember how it started. And in the core was this interconnectivity, was to support small and medium enterprises together with the universities to interconnect. And basically the word or the elephant here in the room is the trust. EIT support many new ecosystems to gain trust with the already existing ecosystems. And as you said, we all feel together the problems, but we still are not brave enough then to act together in advance, meaning the digital single market is not a fact. So I see very important role for EIT to be the sandbox for finally the single market to be realized. And I think we underinvest not only funding, but also recognizing that this bottom-up approach of EIT could help to build resilient innovation systems. So I would advise strongly to consider scaling up this model so that we have resilient, but sorry, as a policymaker, I have to say, because for me it's very important, not only resilient, but inclusive ecosystems.
And sustainable. Mantas, from your experience working in the EIT ecosystem.
Maybe I can voice out some of the challenges the companies are facing nowadays, taking the advantage of these global and really agile and inclusive ecosystems, but nevertheless, companies are bombarded by the number of opportunities, starting from the grants, talents, acquisition, other things, initiatives, and so on. And, every time I kind of find this quote super relevant, that we are drowning in the sea of information, thirsting for knowledge. And where I see the role of EIT, it's like a unique kind of a blending or a melting pot where different initiatives, like starting from the early stage, entrepreneurship programs, let's say students and so on, education, kind of steps in some, not the chaotic manner, but steps into the pipeline, into some sort of orchestrative effort towards the impact. And it's it seems that it's so obvious. I mean, we need the impact, we have to, but oh my God, even in particular country, in Lithuania, there are so many instruments that are so chaotic, even though they are good in itself, but they are so scattered all over the stages of company growth, so scattered into the political cycles, initiatives, and so on. And there is some sort of the umbrella, some blender or some melting point is so much needed that puts these all things aligned to the client or SME growth journey. And this is clearly, I believe, the role of Eit, that in order to orchestrate all these efforts, to align and to put into the particular agendas that companies then actually feel the impact and grow. And this is, I believe it is already happening. There is many more things to do, and to have this orchestrated action that under umbrella of Eit definitely is a way to go. Thank you.
Many thanks. Kaspars, and from your perspective?
Yeah, super quick. Well, very easy, I would say. We expect that EIT will be the brave ones. And in that perspective, then it means to support the ground-up ideas and to drive forward, let's say, in each country, the interconnectivity, and in our, let's say, perspective, to support also the legislation side, because the EIT has a huge network. They can see where which sandbox is with the biggest potential. So we will listen from the different types of governments in all the Europe will listen to EIT if they will take the torch and be the brave ones.
Many thanks. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. I would like to thank you very much for this very interesting discussion. And I would like to ask you to thank our panelists for this excellent intervention. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this first session. Some of the words, some of the sentences or phrases that I heard were one playing field, long-term vision, changing the mindset, brave public administration, and forgetting the boundaries. We're going to talk about adaptive ecosystems right now, but before we do that, I would strongly encourage every one of you to use the Slido platform to ask questions. We are thirsty for questions. So the second session, more adaptive ecosystems, and the discussion lead, Andrzej Ryś, Director for Health Systems and Products, DG Sante, European Commission, and his panelists, Marcin Lewenstein, Filipa Fish, and Karolina Nowak. Please join the stage.
I'm so happy to see that we have right steps. So please, Filipa. So our job is tonight to in 25 minutes to tell you guys that public-private partnership is a great or bad, depends. My own experience is coming from a number of years. I am serving as the member of the board of AMI1, AMI2, and IHI. They are the biggest partnerships in the area of health with pharma industry, later recently with also digital and medical devices industry. So I have a lot of good experience. I have also some experience which are maybe less good, but I would like to start with the questions. Maybe Filipa, you can start. You know, if I ask you guys, you know, what is really the ingredients to make public-private partnership successful? How you will define them?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation, and my congrats to the organization for the topics that are being discussed here today. So everyone agrees that collaboration between public, private, academia, research has to be more strong, has to develop, And I think there are three main factors that we could look at when you think about how to move forward in this collaboration. So I think leadership and knowledge are a must. We need to have leaders that can lead the transformation in a world that today is very unknown. So from 3 years ago, we have lived different crises, and we need the leaders to define the vision, the mission, the network, and the plan to do it. So I think this leadership and the knowledge to do it is a must that we need across different sectors of activity. I call for my sector the healthcare one, but I think in all sectors we need the leadership and the knowledge to do the right and to empower the most innovative solutions to come to the market and to have the critical mass to be scaled up. The second point, I think, is the funding models. We need, of course, we all agree that we need private investment, public investment, but we need the right KPIs so that the industry, the academia, the research are looking to the same thing and they are running for the same purpose. Or else it will be difficult. If I'm a manager and I don't have the KPI to move forward to a society where we have innovation, where we have technology, it will be very difficult for me as a manager to do these things if I'm not evaluated by this. So I think the investment models and the KPIs are fundamental. And the third one, I think it's the basis also for everything that we do in society. I think we have to transform education. Education has to be done, and the training has to be done with more technology. We have immersive technologies nowadays that could be used to transform the way we do education from the primary school, from high school. And when you go to university, the PhDs and the master theses, they should, or at least in my opinion, I mean, 80% should be related with industry. We need to solve problems from society. So these are the three points.
To your three ingredients, so maybe just to make sure that we have equal balance, I will ask Martin now to, Martin, your ingredients, what do you like to add to this three?
Yeah, thank you. I'm joining you from Inno Energy. We are indeed a public-private partnership somehow ourselves. And I'll offer my insights into what we expect from public stakeholders and from public partners to make such partnership effective. And I think there are a couple of factors, but the most important ones are the following. Ability to take the risk and the culture that allows that. That's extremely important, and it's very difficult in many cases. And I cannot stress this more, especially in the environment where we are talking about innovation and bringing public institutions and public stakeholders forward to join in the race for a successful implementation of innovations. Then I think the second element would be strategic vision and consequence in the deployment or in the practical application of that vision. Because public stakeholders, and in particular public authorities, public companies or state-owned companies, they suffer a lot from political influences, and hence sometimes lose that vision. And it's extremely important to be able to stick to your objectives and to have a long-term idea. And I'm not saying that this should not be influenced by daily shocks that we are exposed to, because obviously your strategy cannot kind of freeze you or make you impervious to your environment. I'm not advocating that, but you need to find a balance, and your changes need to be introduced not through politics, but rather through intelligent analysis. Yeah.
Carolina, now you are the last on the list. What are your ingredients like to add to this?
So I would say that the most important is trust, because we have to build the trust between public and private partners to create innovation, to create new solutions for our patients, because I am from healthcare. But we have to be aware of also to share the risk, as you mentioned, the share decision, because public side may make some important decision, and with the trust with private partners, we can share the decision and we can create the environment together. And also about sharing the resources. I mean the human resources, the financial resources. It's also the very important element to build a strong public-private partnership.
Okay, Filipa, Martin raised this issue, and this also was mentioned by Karolina, the risks. You said, okay, we go together. Can we work a little bit on these risks? Have you seen the failures or some ways of avoiding the race and taking risks as a challenge also?
Yeah, well, to do this, you have to also accept that the risks have to be present, and there will be a lot of failures. But if you start from the research that is being done in the faculties, in research centers, and you do this in PhDs, master theses, and combining this with a company, you are already well, the academy is also taking risks, but the company also. But the company needs to take, needs to be aware that will be risks, and sometimes we cannot guess at the beginning that not everything will be running smoothly. So sometimes we need to have the courage also to shut down a project, and this is not very easy. I think in Europe, still very difficult. But that I was saying, that the KPIs that you need to put in front of the company and also on the research needs to include this. And but you know that the risks are there. You know that some of the investments that you do will not be and not reach the market, but you know that when you get a success, then it will cover the failures. That's what I think we should put our efforts, but also admit that sometimes we need to shut down a project. Mm-hmm. And that I think it's still a difficult issue when you look, especially in Europe, because other thing that we should also think is that you need to see other regions where the pace is very fast, the speed is very fast in adopting and shutting down, and they are going very fast. If you look to Asia, nowadays, they are moving very fast. Of course, there are other risks that maybe they are not taking care of it, like data sharing and privacy and all these things. But we should also look at them and look outside ourselves and learn, adapt. It's also very important.
Okay, now, Martin, any good examples you like to share with us? What will be your good story you would like to? Or if you like to say bad stories, also great.
Well, it's always easier to criticize, and it's more exciting. But I'll start from a good story, and not surprisingly, the good story is actually the community of knowledge and innovation communities. I think it's a relatively successful, let's say, move, and resulted in a number of, let's say, critical factors being satisfied in how this whole ecosystem was created and enabled actually quite successful flow of information, know-how, ideas, funds between the three key nodes, so entrepreneurs, innovators, and academia and companies, and I think that's a good example. At least coming from my organization, InnoEnergy, we could see that this is really an effort that is paying off in terms of the critical mass that innovations are able to gain to access the market and to actually cross the national boundaries. Because what makes Europe somewhat more challenging and difficult than many other great players of the world is the fragmentation and local characters of markets that are somehow not making it all that easy for small and medium enterprises and for startups in particular to actually grow and scale. So from that perspective, this is the success story. When it comes to challenges, well, some public stakeholders, especially when we are looking at a couple of last years where money was cheap and then access to capital was easy, created ecosystems that were very much inward-looking. So I think they were lacking openness and lacking, maybe not transparency, but lacking the readiness to engage other stakeholders from outside of the, let's say, public sphere. So for instance, if you look at the Polish innovation ecosystem, again, something that is very close to my heart, I could criticize it indeed a little bit for being very inward-looking and somehow made to satisfy the public stakeholders.
Forgetting the kind of European market as whole.
Exactly, yeah.
Carolina, you are building this Warsaw hub. We are in Warsaw, so maybe it would be good to say, what is your imagination about the governance, about the complexity of this project, and where are the potential problems or successes?
Okay, thank you for this question. Yes, I am responsible for Warsaw Health Innovation Hub, and we are 1 year old. So, and we have some successes. We have 29 partners, business partners. We have 3 projects ongoing, and the projects are financed by our business partners. And we have a lot of plans. We have a lot, because we want to change the healthcare system. We want to provide a better service for our patient. We want new innovation. And we want to find with our business partners common goals, because it's about defining the common goals and going into the same direction. And this needs transparency, this needs trust, and this needs dialogue. Because we now, from the beginning, we have to learn how to talk to each other, how to define common goals. And I think this is the most important, because public sector is changing a lot. Like in my team, we have highly skilled people. We have people with PhD. We have people who are willing to change the healthcare system. So the public sector is different than it was 3 years ago, and with the help of business partners, with their experience, we can create something great, and I really, really believe in that.
Okay, so Filipa, now to maybe I mean, this is just good praise for the private sector, public sector. Often we hear that public sector universities are very conservative. The whole governance structure is very unpleasant to business. Or I remember my rector when I came first time, to him. It was many years ago when I started Innovation Center at Krakow University. And I said, we open door to the industry. And he said, what? And I remember we organized a conference. It was called University for Industry. And he was from Faculty of Polish Language. So he said, in Polish doesn't mean anything. I said, let's hear this. University for Industry. So how you see this barrier between this public-private, Is it so conservative or so difficult?
Yeah, I think nowadays it's much easier maybe when you propose that, but still we continue to have the difficulty of open the doors even on the side of industry sometimes. And I think the universities should have people from industry having giving the lectures, giving their experience, and also we should have professors into the industry explaining science, the new technology, how can them be applied. So I think this interchange, we cannot have just faculties with persons that are doing just the academic world. We need to interchange like we do Erasmus or something. We need to put people in different roles so they can understand better. That I think it's one. The other is that the industry, and I'm trying to do this role also, is that also give classes to universities. So I try to bring younger people to the company so that they can ask or they can test the solutions. So I think it's this interchange that are most common nowadays. We have one example within InnoStars that we have in the summer or at the end of the summer, we have students from different regions coming to the company for 2 weeks, and they are testing the products and developing a project for the company. We have a challenge and we propose for them to solve in the period of time. And then I think it's bringing new air to the company and also making sure that the persons are not crystallized inside what they think it's the best thing. Others is that, for instance, in health, we are developing products, but the definition of the product is done by healthcare professionals, is not done by persons from my company. Okay? So I think this is moving forward, but still we need to put different KPIs so that people are moving into the right direction.
Martin, governance. Often we hear, at least our experience in IMI is quite interesting, how you govern this kind of complex system. You mentioned 29 partners. In your system, you also have many partners. Where are the good ideas? How this public-private may work. You have hundreds of partners.
Mm-hmm. Well, the biggest challenge, I think, is communication and actually aligning on the goals. And I already mentioned strategy. So, being able to actually communicate and work on the strategy in such a way that people coming to the table, even though they come from very different backgrounds, very different organizations, they can actually, find that alignment and understand the nature of objectives and the values that are behind the organization, and that is critical for the success. And I think it would be impossible for InnoEnergy and for our board to run the company successfully without that type of work devoted to actually making sure that the stakeholders involved, be it from public or private sectors, they are actually properly informed and properly engaged in the work towards the strategy. That's the critical thing.
Okay. I have to stop for a second. We have 2 questions from the audience.
Okay.
Can I ask them now?
Sure.
So the first one is, how can we secure the public sector will keep the same goals with change in politicians? That's the first one. And the second one is, to what extent is EIT involved in partnerships like Warsaw Hub and any other similar partnerships with national governments?
It was my last question. Okay, I will take this as the last question, but let's go back to this very, very good question. Okay, politicians are changing every 4 years. Rectors are changing also. It depends in the system 4 or 5 years. So what is the way to I mean, some of you already said that this is the question. The bridge is built half, and how you finish with the next government.
Yes, so I would say that we are aware of that, but we have our KPIs, and we want to realize the goals which we had set. And this is the most important. It does not matter what kind of political parties is right now or will be. It's about the also thinking about the long-term strategy. So we have short goals, and we are thinking what is going to be within 5 years and within 10 years. Even we are not going to be there, maybe we will be there, but we have to plan it, and we have to create the roadmap, and we have to follow. And I would say that if you want to be great, you have to also be around the great people. And we have, by our action, we are trying to do that. Next year, we are planning a conference at Stanford University. We are sharing knowledge with worldwide experts. And this is the most important thing, that you have to think what is going to be within 5-10 years, not within next one.
I think it's important to also make sure that the public understand we are building this bridge, because I think I hope the politics work in this way, that is very difficult to kind of not finish bridge which everybody is aware of this building. So I think this is maybe good prescription, but we are finishing now. So very last moment, very last words about the EITs. How you see the EITs role in this public partnerships? As the question was asked.
Well, it always was critical for us for the last 12 years, and I think it will remain like this. My hope is that the EIT will be able to actually muscle its way in the shifting landscape of the European Union, because it's also, it's also a game of institutions and a game of shifting political landscape, and that's an important consideration, and I fully understand that. So it's an important objective for the institution itself to make sure that it can leverage its advantages and leverage the work that it has done so far to successfully navigate the next decade.
Filipa, an advice for EIT?
Yeah, I think EIT has the main role so that this partnership between public and private works. The network is very strong, and we have the full stack of players. So we need following a strategic plan. Again, the leadership is very important to have the strategic plan and define that for a long term. And I think we have the ingredients to mix it and to have success. And in Europe, among the different regions of Europe, some of them have different levels of maturity in terms of innovation and scaling up. But I think we have the ingredients to promote better innovation, more technology, and engagement for the society.
Very short.
Okay, so Eit Health is our partner in Warsaw Health Innovation Hub, and it's our sparring partner. We are working hand to hand, and we are building also together. Health Innovation Hub is a new initiative within the Central Eastern Europe, so it's our very important partner.
Thank you very much. Thank you for you guys for having us here, and thank you. So now, sparring partner, come in.
Thank you very much for this session. Some of the keywords that I managed to catch is leadership and common goals, trust and transparency, and dialogue. Admitting that some projects fail, and finally opening more doors for academia and businesses, more than we have opened so far. What I would like to do now is to invite you to a 15-minute break. I can see that the connecting process is so intense that it's really difficult to come back to the hall. But there is a lot of interesting topics to be discussed in the second session. Last week, actually, my colleague, the editor-in-chief of Emerging Europe's editorial section, visited Estonia and was speaking with the Estonian Prime Minister. And what she said was that it is not really important to own a yacht or perhaps a car or maybe a house, but what is really important in Estonia is to say that you have been involved in a startup. That's quite prestigious, and that's what she said last week. So without taking too much time, I would like to introduce Erika Pirmets, Digital Transformation Advisor of eEstonia Briefing Center, who will give us a case study, and we'll talk about the secret sauce of eEstonia, digital transformation of regions and the country. Erika.
Hello everyone. First of all, I want to thank the EIT for giving the possibility to introduce Estonia. And yes, now it's my opportunity to talk a little bit about how we've been able to become a digital hub. How do we approach building a country as a startup? So of course, the Prime Minister would be proud saying so. We are a small country, but we are also a sparsely populated country. So in the 1991, we had the wonderful opportunity to regain independence. But that meant also starting a country from zero. Yes, building a startup might be difficult. Try building a country virtually from nothing. So we were really poor. We did not have a network of giving public services. We did not have a very good legislative framework. So that was really hard condition back in the day. But we knew that we need to go digital. There was no possibility how we could catch up with developed democracies, offer a quality lifestyle for our own nation and play by the rules that have been attributed before. We made our own rules. One thing that we did have in our favor, though, was the Cybernetics Institute based in Tallinn since the 1960s. So yes, they contributed specialists and know-how and functional technological capabilities, but also came with the mentality. Let's try. We did not have a playbook, how to construct a digitally functional society, but we had the boldness to start with the journey. There are some benefits that we can see from having almost all the public services available online. Yes, the two remaining services not yet digital are marriage and divorce, but you shouldn't worry because they are in the government pipeline as we speak. So that will probably make us the first culture to have digital marriages, whatever that will bring. Measurable benefits as well. So if functional solutions, quality e-services will help you save time and money, well, yes, but we are giving completely new meaning to Eiffel Tower as well, being the first e-cabinet in the world. Of course, the first focus, as we were so poor, we needed to construct the economical environment as well. That meant helping the ecosystem that we have. We're not an industrial country. We don't manufacture anything. So our export is tech and services, but don't just take it from me. There are some surveys and indexes showing Estonia as a very attractive environment for digital business. But it all started with a very important cornerstone. How do we engage people in all of these e-services that we're offering? And that came with an important, yes, political, but strategic decision. One central electronic ID that would connect us to all of the government's e-services, but now is embedded throughout the whole ecosystem between public and private entities. heavily relying on a strong identity that we're using already for 20 years. But here I want to give a shout out to Ukraine. At the end of this year, Estonia will launch our very own MVP of DIA. Thank you, Ukraine. And of course, now when we were already giving electronic identities to the entire population, the 1.3 million of it, we were thinking, where do we expand next? And the logical way was to expand to the rest of the world. So we became a first digital nation, enabling the same electronic environment to any person in the world, regardless of their location. To this date, we have over 94,000 e-residents in over 160 different countries. Please note that this is our second largest city. The first being our capital, Tallinn, then the community of e-residents, and on the third place, our second city, Tartu. So for us, it is a significant amount of people who are not physically in Estonia, but they are helping to grow our economy. And, well, here's some statistics about Poland as well. But the trade-off being, what do they get back in return? That they are Estonian e-residents. So one, as I mentioned before, one very important focus was to facilitate entrepreneurship. We don't make hurdles. We don't want to limit, because where innovation is easy, innovation will grow. And once you just put different hurdles on entrepreneurs' way, they will move somewhere where it's more simpler to do business. So yes, the official documents say that it takes 3 hours to start a company. Actually, it's more or less like half an hour, and the fastest founder in the world has done it in 15 minutes. So let's make this simple. Let's make it approachable. In addition to all of the ecosystem of supporting e-services, registering business and so forth, we just want that entrepreneurs would focus on their thing, growing their own business, not focusing on different bureaucracy, administration, the communication with the state that would leave them with a headache. We are on the mission to change this stereotype that you can actually have a pleasurable and constructive communication with your government. But also transparency and in all of these registries and efficiency, that gives you the quality control also. Yes, I mentioned e-residency, but we are not tax haven. We are not hosting shelf companies. We want this to be honest and transparent, and through public records that give you this sort of accountability, and where you can check, for example, who your next business partner is going to be. Well, that generates trust. And being the startup nation, we get often asked, what do you have there in the water that the unicorns just keep popping up? It's not in the water, it's in the environment as a whole. We want entrepreneurs to feel good. We want the business activity to be approachable. So it is easy to make these unicorns grow. And all of this helps to expand Estonia's economy, something that alone small Estonia would not be able to do. So the one side, of course, is very attractive e-governance and public system, but it also helps very directly the business environment also. So that was my very brief case study about Estonia. How do we bring innovation? How do we reach people, even in the most remote areas in Estonia, but also across borders? So innovation is not closed anymore in one area. We are competing globally. So thank you very much for taking the interest in Estonia, and I welcome you to join this digital nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Erika. It was a great presentation. I will just add that our recent research shows that when it comes to attracting investors, foreign investors, the Estonian IPA has used automation for quite some time already. And the fact is that the country has saved over 3,000 working hours only thanks to that. We continue the topic of stepping up innovation, and I would like to invite two additional speakers in that session, and that is Indre Tauroseviciute Ribikauste. Sorry, this is a very, very difficult name, and I'm not Lithuanian. And Tomasz Jaworski for this next session.
So welcome, Tomasz, and welcome everyone. I'm really flattered to be part of this event. And yeah, so maybe we should start from introduction, right? So people could know why we are here and what experience we can share.
So you could observe that I am here because I like to be on stage. I'm working for Microsoft and I'm responsible for advising public sector customers in Poland and CEE countries how to use digital technologies to transform e-services. And you, Indre?
Yeah, so I'm alumni from Eit Digital. So I heard a lot of talks today about education and connectivity, so I can share some insights how EIT is handling this. Also, I'm a coach, business coach, helping with some EIT initiatives and Women of Wonder University. And also, I have a startup. I'm a co-founder of Spotyet. So, yeah, probably this would be enough for now. Okay, so maybe we should start with the first part. So, one of the flagships for EIT innovation agenda is that they want to reskill 1 million people in the following 3 years. So could you share like your thoughts how they could do that? How is that, would that be possible?
Yeah, I'll be a little bit disclosing some secrets because in a lobby we talked with Indre that it's all about love. Skilling is all about love. Why we think so? I have my answer and probably you have your own. Is because, you know, with the pandemic, a lot of people quit, quit jobs. A lot of young people resign from studying and so on. And we know from Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman, you probably know this book because we are among intelligent people thinking fast and slow, that when we think, we use our resources. Thinking is abusement of our, physical body. So I think that we need a reason. Every person needs a reason to study and to skill and to learn. Do you agree, or you have your own answer?
Yeah, what comes about passion, I totally agree. And especially when you start working, it's never easy. I mean, sometimes we have challenges. And only if you're passionate about it, you can take an extra step and move forward. And if it's something that you do by force, then of course it's a lot harder. But also from my experience, maybe in EIT education, I really think that it should be very targeted education that solves problems. And also that we can learn by doing. Because yesterday I watched another Innoveit event in Tallinn, and I was really inspired by Talltech Dean. And yeah, he said that we should prepare a generation for unknown technologies and unknown future. So how can we use education, which was built 150 years ago? It's impossible. So that's why I had really good examples at my studies, which showed that by learning, we can learn, by doing, we can learn a lot more. So maybe you can share some Microsoft examples, like how you train people, for example. Maybe this could also lead to some future learnings.
Yeah, people will think that it's trained, you know, and because I have a very good answer to your question. In Poland, maybe you know, we landed investment in a data center, in cloud data center. And together with it, because there is a challenge among, and you can measure it in different indexes like DESI or whatever, it's a challenge in Poland that we are 15% behind the CEE average for the digital skills, the general digital skills of a society, and 25% for the tech talent base. So if we want to provide the supply of the center, then we need a lot of people that are skilled. And we landed also skilling initiative, and in 2 years, we trained 200,000 professionals, technical professionals in IT. So it means 300 people a day, roughly, you know. So it's a big, let's say, achievement. But coming back to how we not forced people, but how we started to make them love what they learned. I have a, you know, very interesting tool here with me. It's a wooden cover for my phone, and it says, smooth sea never made a skillful sailor. So it comes back to what you said, Indra, because I know that as an entrepreneur, you invested your talents, and I assume that you get some return. Can you give some examples how you invested in your talents, how you cried maybe during night that you need to learn still a lot, or how you have been happy for what you achieved with the talent?
Okay, so I have 2 examples. So one example is my own startup, and the other one, the blockchain company that I recently worked at. So yeah, from Spotjet perspective, it just happened to be that we were learning about entrepreneurship at the same time when we won the hackathon with this idea. And our coach really helped us to take the first step. I think that the first step is always the hardest. And the theory, like all my course mates that didn't have any business idea to work on that time, of course, we were given some ideas and we had a chance to generate them, but they were not passion-driven, as you just said at the beginning. So their learning was a lot, I mean, they missed a lot of learning. And we still are one of the good examples out of EIT digital teaching mechanisms, maybe. So this is one of the things that I'm also doing with one of a coach from EIT Digital. We go on a hackathons and we coach, we help people to take the first step, to create an idea, and to move forward with it. And another example is from the company. Blockchain is a very, very new technology, and you cannot prepare students at university to work on blockchain, to work with blockchain, because you don't know what will be created tomorrow or a week after. So you constantly need to improve. You constantly need to find something to work on. So what they do at the company, they hire people and they reskill them at the company, because the best way to learn is to do it, actually.
They don't fire them if they don't have sufficient skills?
So there's always a probation period, you know. But yeah, first of all, they collect the best students from university and they put it in actual work. And then they see how it goes. And then they use their strengths, add blockchain level on top, and then they move forward.
I like very much what you have said, because, you know, I see that that you are interested. Some of you are smiling, you know. I think that we are talking about a perfect example that Indre gives, you know, of a successful education. How we can step by step go deeper and deeper, because the topic of our chat is deep tech skills, which is far beyond the general education. And general education is of course needed, because if the society is not skilled enough, for whom we will build government e-services? And if we don't have sufficient users of government e-services, how we will have enough data to build AI, IoT, blockchain solutions, or quantum computing solutions that will help us solve the problems of our planet? Because the definition that I found for the deep tech skills is that we use engineering skills, the most modern ones, and the scientific findings to solve the global problems of food supply, of climate change, of health, public health, and so on and so forth. So, you know, my question is, what does it mean for me, for you, for us, that we have a way to build our deep tech skills and to have option for building that? How we can rise this anxiety, this love, what makes us move? What's your opinion? Difficult question.
That's a really difficult question. I think, first of all, we should share good experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And
like we do.
Like we do, but also connecting people. And like last weekend, there was another Innoveit event, which is called Connect, where all the KICs gather together. And I really miss this in every single step we take, or every single technology we tackle, or problem, or we just need to gather people together. And then you see, then you learn, then when you try, you will find out eventually what you're good at and what you love. If you haven't heard about it, or you haven't seen it, or you haven't tried it, how can you know?
I like that answer very much, you know, and we are unfortunately coming to the end of this fireside chat. So we, of course, cannot bring all the things to the table. I would like to raise one thing, because I strongly believe that there is a room between the education, the higher education, the general education, the deep tech skills, and kind of like we do, fireside chats, podcasts, you know, books, you know, everything we do to help people to be interested and passionate about what is our future. And I want to place Microsoft achievement also here. There is a nice tool, I think. It's called Digital Futures Index. It's a composite index built by Microsoft for CEE countries, because you probably know that there is a DESI index, there is a World Bank index, there is OECD, and many, many other measures that measure how skilled we are. So it's very difficult to navigate. So Microsoft decided to help people, and we built a composite index, Digital Futures Index, and we can measure at least if we are advancing in our country. It is not designed to compare Poland to Lithuania or Sweden or whatever. It is to compare Poland to Poland and Lithuania to Lithuania. Are we next year better than last year? And I think I'm very much interested in that. Would you think it is interesting to measure your country towards the skilling index?
It would be interesting, but I totally agree with what you just said. But just before closing all this fire chat, I want to ask, are there any questions from the audience that we should answer?
There is actually one interesting comment. Digital transformation is extremely important. However, this is not the whole story. We need to build resilient production systems in Europe.
Yeah, so everything is connected. What we just said and what we heard already before. So yeah, my advice to EIT and maybe all participant countries would be go in depth, not in a width. So just try to fix the problems, but not to extend to finding other problems. So maybe also by connecting, gathering people, we can get really good examples and try to test it in our case, if it works or not. So that would be it. I had a lot of questions for you, but we didn't have enough time to cover it. Yeah. So definitely continue later.
If I can leave one thought, I would like you to remember that it's all about love. Skilling is all about love. And then we will make next steps.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, thank you.
We're going to continue the discussion about skills, and I will be inviting my panelists now. So the time has come for me to stay on the stage for, again, a bit longer. And I would like to invite Andrzej Dybczyński, Director of the Polish Center for Technology Development, Łukasiewicz Research Network, Dora Maros-Volgi, Director of EIT Community Projects, EIT Health in the Stars, and Tuan Trin, Director of EIT Digital Budapest Node. So thank you very much for joining me this time. We're going to talk about a bit about the European Innovation Agenda and the work of EIT, what EIT has been doing in that regard. So we've been talking about resilience, we've been talking about sustainability today, and I would like to start by asking you about the gaps that we need to focus on to improve in order to improve both in Poland and across the RIS region. And I'm going to start with whoever wants to start, but maybe Dora.
Thank you very much, and good evening to everyone. Well, in my case, I work with very early stage teams who are teams of researchers, and they want to bring their innovation to the market. Therefore, the program is called Eit Jumpstarter, and it's a collaboration of 6 EIT communities, soon to be 7. EIT Health, EIT Food, EIT Raw Materials, Urban Mobility Manufacturing, and InnoEnergy, and EIT Digital will be joining from next year onwards. So basically, the gap that we see is that there are not as many innovations reaching the market as in the leading ecosystems like the US, Israel, or the Western Europe. We just don't need to look the US or Israel all the time, but the Western Europe does better. And why? We see that there is like a need for mindset change, entrepreneurial mindset change. And basically, we are working on that to let startups understand that what are the possibilities for their business. And it's not bad to fail, but if they fail, they need to fail fast. And also, they need to test and learn from it. So this is what I can see. Thank you.
Andrzej?
Well, I wonder how many people in this room and online really have read European Innovative Agenda. I did. It's 21 pages and 105 footnotes, but 21 pages of declarations. Nice declarations. So answering today, I would say we have only gaps. Let's wait how these declarations will be fulfilled. But more seriously, if I'm asked to name or to list the gaps we should cover, I would focus on 3. And I'm not sure if they are fully addressed in the agenda. So the first one is understanding of the timeline needed to build innovation, especially in the deep tech. It's not the job for 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. If you look at the basic research, if you look at how much time is needed to do the innovation in the deep tech, that we should understand that we should not expect the results quickly. The second gap, the budget needed. We are talking about the money that should be invested in billions, billions, and billions of euros. The question is whether the money that we invest into innovation, however impressive it is, whether it is enough, especially if you compare it to the US, China, or other countries. And the third gap, much more complicated, I would say, I have the impression that we quite often miss one thing. We very often have all the ingredients to bring innovation on the table. The question is if we mix them in the right way. What I mean here is that, to my experience and knowledge, we should create a system that joins 5 elements, and we not always do that. The first element is academia. The second are application research institutions. The third one are startups. The fourth one are venture capitals, a big problem in the EU. And the fifth one is business, who would take this innovation and bring it further. And the problem is whether we are able to combine all these 5 ingredients together in the system we have.
Thank you. What would you like to add?
Thank you very much. Actually, I was very impressed by your list, so it's difficult to add. But maybe I would like to emphasize, because you already said about that, is the entrepreneurship mindset. Because in Europe, with respect to the world, we have quite good, really good researchers in engineering, in digital technologies, in deep tech. So that is not a real issue. The real issue is how to bring that knowledge, that deep tech knowledge, to products, to services. That is a thing that we need to educate our students. Actually, I have an academic background. I've been teaching for the last 20 years before joining EIT Digital. So I see that that is the entrepreneurship mindset that we need to instill into the education. And what is exactly we are doing in EIT Digital for the last more than 10 years. So that is a EIT Digital Master School program. I think that the previous speaker already is a very good example about that. After you finishing the master school, you created your own startup and you talk about blockchain technology, so the latest one. So that is a really, I think that is, I don't need to explain more about the outcome. It says everything. The first, rather than emphasize what we already said, I'd like to add something to Dora's notes on the Jumpstarter program, because at EIT Digital, we have been running the Arise program for nearly 10 years, and then we have the venture program for the risk region. So my own experience with this region is that actually I would not say that it's less innovative than the West and even the North. If you look at the unicorns in the last 5 years, it's not that bad. We have unicorns over here, but the problem is that the talents, when they started their companies, they reached to their unicorn status. $1 billion. What do you want to it's changing day by day, but they founded the company not in Europe. That is the problem. Not because it's not originated from this region, but it's not founded in this region, and that is a challenge for me, the gap. So, that many talents are here in this region, the risk regions, the strategic region and innovation area. But when the company grows, the environment is not mature and enough for them to stay, because that the government need to reach that level. Support a €1 billion or $1 billion company is different than support a I mean, 100,000 euro company. So that is the, I mean, even the government, the society need to be ripe enough for those people to stay here, to grow their business and get that level. So that's my addition to the previous speakers.
So we have the entrepreneurial mindset, and we also have a better environment here.
Yeah.
You mentioned skills, and I want to sort of touch on that, because the skills will be important in achieving the goals of the European innovation agenda. From your perspective, what kind of skills do we need right now? And I know that Jumpstarter is, working with the young people and helping them. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So what we are looking at when we select the teams into the program is the composition of the team.
Mm-hmm.
So we really look at people. Of course, they should come with an idea which is innovative and it fits in our thematic sectors. It's like deep tech idea as well. And what we also look for is that if they have the commitment to make this company grow in the future as well.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it is an outcome of the Jumpstarter program that pure scientists, they miss skills to run a business, and they understand that they don't want to do that. But they are searching for an entrepreneurial co-founder, and this is what we help them with. So basically our aim with the program is to help them, if they want, if they are committed, the idea is there, to unlock their potential, to start the company and connect them into the international networks that we have.
So I can see that it is really important to have those soft skills, that if you don't have the skills that are needed to set up a business, but you are an excellent researcher, you understand that you need to find somebody else to who have these skills. Anything else that we need to meet, as far as the skills are concerned, to meet the agenda? Andrzej?
Definitely, there is one skill we really miss, and that stops 90% of the innovation in this country. If you ask the researchers in my institution, what skills do they need to be really innovative, probably all of them would answer one skill and one skill only: how to cope with Polish public procurement law. And if they have that skill, you see jumping innovation immediately. What I mean is that we quite often try to solve big problems, analyze big topics. Maybe sometimes we should focus on solving real problems of the ground, on the people who do the research and who are innovative.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first point. The second, I fully agree with you, because what my experience tells me is that if there are, and definitely there are, skills many entrepreneurs lack, maybe we should not think how to develop these skills with them, but how to accompany them, how to support them with the people who who have the right skills. Let the researcher be the brilliant researcher. We don't need him to be chief financial officer.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need him to be marketing officer, but we should help him to have these skills around him.
Mm-hmm. So two additional skills to one. Any other skills?
I
you
would
see vital?
I would say that I would reverse the question a little bit. I would not only say about skills, I would add re and up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, reskilling and upskilling is important. Not only teaching the skills, but when you talk of digital technologies, one area I cannot say that Europe is in leading is, for example, you mentioned, the Microsoft speaker mentioned about quantum computing. We cannot say that Europe is leading in quantum computing. It's Asia and US, so you cannot say that. So you even need to upskill your engineering expertise. You don't have it here right now at that level. So that is, to be frank and to be fair, with the facts. But in addition to engineering skills, I would say that upskilling and reskilling. So not only skilling, but up and re. Because, for example, COVID asked you a lot of questions, right? COVID, we don't know how to use Teams until COVID comes. So I didn't know about Teams, but for the sake of goodness, now I know. Well, last but not least, I only have one skill that not mentioned in many talks. I think that the selling skill is important in business.
Thank you very much for mentioning that, because marketing and sales have been repeated over and over and over again. This is something that generally people in Central and Eastern Europe don't really have. They have the other skills, but sales is
exactly
less
this
of a
reason is
skill.
not the top in sales skills.
Okay, let me go a little bit further. You know, I've been quite passionate about collaboration, especially that collaboration within Central and Eastern and also Southern Europe. How do you think that collaboration can contribute to achieving the goals of the agenda? And also, what has EIT been doing for the last, you know, decade that it's been so successful in bringing together all these, I would say sometimes crazy partners in the sense of unexpected and achieving goals? I'll start with Dora again. You're the only lady here, so we need to start with you.
You know that.
Oh, I don't.
Okay, so how we understand collaboration and our role in it at EIT Health. And I could say that at all the EIT communities, perhaps. So the EIT is set up on a principle of knowledge triangle, which means that it brings together all the stakeholders that are needed for the innovations to reach the market, like academia, research organizations, industrial partners. However, this collaboration oftentimes doesn't happen by itself. You need a safe space, you need a facilitator to make it happen. And we see our role in this. And but actually we have different examples from the ground how we do it, like the EIT Health example that we brought together the Warsaw Health Innovation Hub, which is like a collaboration of different like partners coming from the academia industry and like research as well. So it's like a knowledge triangle on the ground, and the EIT Health facilitates or has a facilitator role in it. And I can also add, like from the European level, that EIT also tries to connect the dots between different organizations. So pan-European ones like the Cost Association, the EIF, European Investment Fund, the European Innovation Council as well, in order to support us, our startups, our teams, to have these collaborations that really they can access the funding and access the international network.
But I have a feeling that, you know, we're not reinventing a wheel here, right? But it seems that there is something, you know, beyond that. There's this secret recipe, or there's this sauce, maybe some sort of sauce that kind of puts these things together and makes sense, basically. What is that? Can we try to identify that?
For me, the secret sauce is time, and time to build trust among these.
So trust again.
Trust.
Trust is something we've heard quite a few times today.
Well, when you talk about collaboration, it's difficult without trust. So I mean,
Andrei.
Well, I don't believe, to be honest, in secret receipts, secret sauces, and miracles. I rather believe in time, hard work, and so on. But I would also stress that we should be very, very realistic when we try to assess or when we try to shape our expectations concerning the initiatives, like initiatives conducted by EIT, for example. I'm very far from ignoring them, neglecting them, or undermining them. But it's pretty important that we should know that the initiatives like regional innovation schemes and others, they might foster, they might facilitate the collaboration. They might help people to collaborate, but they will not replace people and ideas. So my call would be to be realistic when we define our expectations.
So my secret sauce would be that hard work. Now, if I can ask you the final question, imagine you have a crystal ball, or you can come up with ideas from the moon or from the sky. What would be your ideas of, new schemes, new initiatives, new propositions in order to make sure we're actually achieving the goals of the innovation agenda? Be as creative as possible.
The regulation.
Well,
be creative.
I would have the same answer, because what we see is that if startups want to enter a different market in Europe, they need to face different regulations and they need to understand. So I could echo that wish.
For me, actually, my answer it's your previous question. So it's about collaborations, and that is the strength of this region. Why? Because it's unique in this region that we have a lot of countries, and as you see, when you have endpoints and you have n-squared connections, if you have 14 countries, you have nearly 200 connections. So that is for two economic principles. The first is a critical mass. The second is economy of scale. And that is the real strength that only is unique for this region. And collaboration, and of course you need to trust, but you don't find it in Western Europe. You don't find it in Northern Europe. You find it in the rich countries. And that is the strength of this region. And that is collaboration that I think would bring out the best if we know how to use it. That is my answer to your question.
So I have one more question, sort of basing on what you just said. I've seen a lot of interest within Central and Eastern Europe. I've seen a lot of interest in learning from Western Europe, from the US. But today, during this event, we've heard 2 case studies of Estonia and Ukraine that seem to have quite a lot to teach everybody else. Do we, in your opinion, take advantage of all the achievements of individual countries within Central, Eastern, and Southern Europe have, in order to make sure that we are growing innovation, we are strengthening innovation, and we're achieving the innovation agenda? Or are we doing it just too little?
May I start for the first time? Thank you. I think you bring a really good question now, because, for example, Estonia. We had at Eit Digital in May, Eit Digital annual conference, and we invited the former president of Nokia, Risto Salisma. And this is not my sentence, that's why I refer to him, because it originated from him. And he said that, well, we look up to the Estonian people. We are Finnish people, but we look up to the Estonian. They have the brave to break things. They are like Silicon Valley. So we heard about Ukrainian presentations, and we heard a lot of bravery. And that is the bravery we need to do, and following the example of Estonian regulation is also very important. It's quite many Hungarian companies go to Estonia to set up. It's for a reason. It's not by chance. Mm-hmm. Because of a very, very open and supportive environment in Estonia, the first thing, the bravery. And it's a word from the former president of Nokia. Mm. So that is my 2 cents to that.
But apart from countries like Estonia and like Ukraine, do you think that we can really learn from everybody?
Bravery, yeah.
Dora, Andrei?
That would be my wish, learn from these. Actually, these two countries, so they had a commitment from the political level and like a strategic goal that they want to reach, that they want to create this economy that thrives. And I can see working with Estonian teams and also nowadays Ukrainian teams that bravery is what they have. They are not afraid to fail. They want to try themselves. And oftentimes I cannot feel that drive and motivation from teams coming from a background which is stable, like a university background, a teaching background. It's very hard to give it up for the sake of a startup. It needs bravery.
To step out of the comfort zone. Probably is what you...
Well, when I switch on TV set at home in the evening, I doubt if humanity is a learning species. I really doubt. But maybe that's the result of middle-age crisis, who knows? But definitely we could learn more. We will never learn everything we could from each other. The question should be whether we learn enough from each other. But sometimes I think that maybe we should switch the way we think. And maybe we should not think so much what we can do to foster innovation, to create certain ecosystems and so on. Maybe we should think what roadblocks we should remove from people who are the most creative individuals on this planet, on this continent, or in this region. How to remove the roadblocks that stop them instead of helping them.
And let that stay as our final message of this panel discussion. Thank you so much for joining us. And we're going to discuss the next point in a second. Thank you so much, and a round of applause for our panelists. Thank you very much. So we are about to start our final point of the event, and in order to do that, I would like to invite Maria Lisa Meris, Director EIT Food North East.
Oops. Thank you very much. You know what? I'm sure that you have been all thinking that where are hiding all those fantastic projects and innovators and startups? I may know, so I think I'm not actually really sure if I'm going to tell you right away or whether I tell you maybe something else before. This award is going to be actually a first edition in this Warsaw, let's say, Warsaw Innovation Award. This is what I was looking for. And in this, let's say, fantastic award ceremony, because we all like to win, don't we? I know that we have at least two categories that we are going to provide these awards. First one is actually most innovative startup. Yeah, exactly, that's what I was looking for, thank you. And then the other one is actually more on the kind of a high impact, educational and consumer impact kind of a projects. So, okay, we are looking for startups and we are looking for those projects that actually can have a really great impact. Let me see, I'm going to try to see this one. Maybe before I starting to tell you who are those nominees, because in the first category we have 10 nominees, and in the second one we have actually a little bit, I think less, 9 nominees. And before showing those names to you, there were many panels and speeches where we talked about how difficult it is to innovate. And it definitely does take bravery. We have to be brave indeed to try something new. Even when somebody's telling us that, okay, it's not going to work, no, don't bother, well, where are you going to find the money? And all of these kind of reasons that are actually probably putting off maybe some of the most and bravest innovators. I do believe, though, that in EIT communities, we are kind of built to support really these innovators and startups and tell that, okay, look, we can discuss. Let's discuss. What do you have in your mind? And maybe we can do something. Okay, we are not US, okay, not the biggest, let's say, investor, but we are pretty good investor nevertheless. And on the other side of it is that we are working in Europe. And you know what? Europe is not small, it's actually really big. And this is also something that I want you to think about, that yet we have these wonderful countries that are all different, and we have this really extremely rich culture that we can also play around, but together we are really strong. And this is something I want you to think about. So, these nominees, right? Are you interested in knowing?
Of course.
Okay, well then, let's go for that one.
And also the winner.
Yeah, well, of course, of course. So then the first nominee is Foros from Climate Kick. Second, Fermentful Climate Kick again. Climate Kick has been really probably very providing a lot of nominees here. Then Okalis EIT Manufacturing, great EIT Manufacturing, good for you as well. And then Commit Smart Factory Made Easy SRL, EIT Manufacturing again, I mean, not too bad. Then NC Biotics, SBZU, I know this is from Poland and from EIT Food, so fantastic EIT Food. Then we continue with with some of the nominees here. Micro B Plus of EIT Food, great. Then Stressless SRL EIT Health. Then Sober Soul, well, that's really, really great name, I think. I hope it is not from EIT Food, but it is from Health. So let's see what that might be, right? And then actually the number 9 is BIN EIT Inno Energy. And then number 10 is Hepta Airborne EIT Inno Energy. So look at these 10 nominees. I mean, these are all fantastic startups that we have there. And there's many, many more. These are only one part of the great startups that we have. So we are not going to have pitching today, but I hope that you are all going to go and look in the internet, in social media, and actually learn about these startups and see that whether actually you can do something for them. Maybe you can bring them to your countries, you can use them, and you can make them a success story. But it is really also up to you. So,
we're looking forward to hearing the winner.
Yes, ta-da-da! And the winner is Micro B Plus of
We would
EIT
like to
Food.
invite the winner onto the stage. Please join us.
And come on the stage with me, please. So here is the wonderful prize for you. And of course, with these words, I also hope you a lot of success and all the best. And you just don't let these people go anywhere before they have spoken with you, and you have a possibility then to tell about your innovation later. Thank you. No, it is really for us. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now it's time for the second category.
Second category. Let's see if there are any sober souls in there, but there we go. The second category is the most impactful project of the year. And you know also that we are also looking at the impact. We talk about the education projects, what are we doing with the consumers, and we know we have actually many of those. They are equally really important, as those startups, even though, of course, entrepreneurship is something that we really want to build in Europe. But at the same time, we also want to have the society that is at the same time looking at these things from the point of view that, okay, what kind of a societies are we building? How we are helping through the impact to make things better. So the nominees are Post-Coal Future Lab Climate Kick, CE Community Lab 2.0, exploring fundamentally different CEE futures for just transition. I think these guys need some marketing advice because their name is not exactly very, let's say,
it's a
selling.
bit too short. It's too long.
It is very, very long. I think that they wanted to describe here actually what they are doing, and not bad. Then the third one is actually democratization of copper technology, EIT manufacturing. At least these things should trigger your kind of a curiosity, and you should at least go and see that what are these actually all about. Shaping smart manufacturing demonstrators for young Europeans, EIT manufacturing again. See, RIS consumer engagement labs, yes, fantastic as well. Then annual food agenda, fantastic also. If you don't know, you should look for on these two as well. They are really interesting ones. EIT Health Drive of EIT Health, that's really fantastic drive. So maybe there's something there. Commercialization and technology transfer, roundtable and workshops proceeding, EIT Health. Well, this is also like a rather long, but nevertheless. And then now EIT InnoEnergy. I think they have actually done some training here because they have understood that
Keep it short.
It's better. So these are the nominees.
Oh, I think there's another one. No?
No, I think this should be the. Let's see. No.
Oh, you're right.
You were trying to put there maybe additional one.
Yeah, like 5, you know, 2 double lines.
I see that one. So the winner is EIT Health Drive. EIT.
Please join us on the stage.
There you go. And we are looking for a great drive. So thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So with this very positive element, we would like to conclude today's event. I hope you have connected a lot already, but there will be one more opportunity to connect during the networking reception, which I would like you to join. You will see all the signs leading to the right venue. You will also receive a special gift which will be sent after the event. You will find, this is going to be a secret, so you will find out what that will be. Thank you so much for joining us today, and if you're not connected with EIT yet, please do so, because I believe there are quite amazing opportunities if you are connected to the large community. Thank you so much, and see you in a couple of minutes at the networking reception. Thank you. I have one small announcement. I would like to invite everyone onto the stage, and we are going to take a group photo. We want to make sure that everyone sees that we are actually connected. So please.